if we fall behind, it's going to become exponentially more difficult. We want to stay on top of the storm as it occurs. You'll see both the city and the county pushing snow as soon as the first snowflake falls. And then we intend to stay on that job and not let this storm get ahead of us. That's easy to say today when the freezing rain and some amount of snow has not arrived. But we think we've made our best effort in preparation for it.
With the rain possibilities today, that freezing rain, are you guys able to do much pre-road treatment, or is it all going to be just the plows as soon as we get snow?
Yeah, unfortunately, this heavy rainfall that we're expecting tonight makes pre-treatment non-effective. So we just don't have the benefit of pre-treating. But we're going to start pushing snow just as quickly as we can, spreading salt so that to the extent we can help turn that into slush, and we can push slush. So we have talked through the various weather scenarios to see how we respond to each of those.
What are some of your greatest concerns having this weather event just on the heels of all the weather we've already had?
There are a number of concerns. Number one, we worry about our citizens and their safety, their ability to get to work, their ability to do business. Our citizens in Georgetown and Scott County, like citizens throughout central Kentucky, can become very impatient. And we appreciate how impatient folks can come. So we want to perform. We want to do this as best we can. I worry about a fatigue factor for our public works employees, who not only had to fight through a lot of snow and record-breaking temperatures, but then because we delayed garbage collection for a week, they've had to do double duty to get the trash collection up to speed. Now we're asking them to take on mandatory overtime and 12-hour shifts to be able to address this. There comes a point when you just worry about their fatigue factor. We want to keep those employees safe as well.
What about, you mentioned putting salt down. How are the salt supplies after, I imagine, having to use quite a bit with the last snow event?
I think we're in good shape salt-wise. County's in good shape, and I believe, thankfully, we have adequate salt on hand.
Could Linda answer a couple of questions regarding the salt supplies? And
sure.
Linda, how much salt was used in the last event?
600 tons.
Okay. And you have that amount. How much do you have on hand?
We replaced that, and the barn is full. We have about 900 tons right now.
900 tons. What about the county, JR? How many tons does the county have available?
The last snowstorm, we used approximately 1,000 ton. Had our order come in. I'm sitting on probably 1,800 ton now, which should get me through several snowfalls.
Okay. Captain Swanigan, question for you. One of the things that the police department was doing during the snowstorm last time was actually being out and helping drivers push their cars and such. Do you anticipate officers being in the same capacity?
We've got a sign-up sheet where we're going to take some volunteers to come in to work extra shifts to facilitate just that. In addition to the fire department, we'll be in the neighborhoods, looking for stranded motorists or motorists that are stuck, and we can get them pushed on their way and get them moving again.
Do you imagine there being much of a problem on the interstate?
In the past that has been a problem. The state normally, that's a priority for them. Obviously they hit that road first, so we're hoping that that's the case and it continues to flow normally.
And in that regard, we have worked out, if travelers on the interstate get stranded, we have worked out emergency shelter at Faith Baptist Church. We've also worked out emergency warming shelters at churches in Georgetown, Camping Ground, and Sadieville. While we cannot predict the weather, we can predict our effort, and we've attempted to leave no stone unturned.
Basically, bottom line is about keeping everybody safe and the community safe, it sounds like.
To the extent we can, under difficult circumstances, we want to successfully handle this event on behalf of our citizens.
far as the 600 tons used in last snowstorm, how much can a large salt truck hold in one trip? Is that like a ton? Is that 2 tons?
Oh, that's a good question, because our trucks vary just a little bit in size. It's probably a ton.
Okay.
Judge, anything to add?
Well, I will add.
Yes, sir.
The county, we're blessed in the county to have a supervisor that has been through as bad, if not worse, storms than what we are anticipating, and will stay ahead of it. We have 280 miles of county roads to take care of, and in that 280 miles is about 34 subdivisions. So it's a big issue, but staying ahead of it, as the mayor said, is the answer to what we need to do. And we work around the clock. They sleep at the maintenance barn between runs, and on the last snow, they went 4 times before they quit. Push the snow off, come back and rest a while, go back and stay ahead of it, and that's critical. But I think living in Georgetown and Scott County and Cedarville and Stamping Ground with a storm like this, you couldn't be in a better county than what you're in. But it is dangerous. People's got to stay in and be safe. But we will stay ahead of it, just like the mayor said, working together with all of these departments. And all you got to do is, if they have a problem, call 911 and help will be there.
One of the things also that happened in the last go-round was that the police department ended up being, helping Public Works in identifying the roads that needed, or the streets that needed attention. Is that going to be the same tack that's followed this time?
Absolutely. The officers that we're calling in for the extra duty will be doing just that. They'll be in constant radio communication with Mrs. Wise and her employees to get the attention to the trouble spots where it needs to be.
Will dispatch be having a role in that as well?
Luckily, that communication will be outside of dispatch, so it won't burden us with listening to that. But should we be needed, we have that capability.
How will you fit into this, Jack, the EMA?
Well, right now we have 3 warming centers that are available and can be staffed by our personnel if need be. That's Georgetown Church of the Nazarene, Stamping Ground Baptist, and Cedarville Christian, as well as Faith Baptist. We monitor. During the last event, we were around the clock. We monitored 24 hours a day at the Emergency Operations Center, and we were in contact with all the other agencies as need be.
Okay.
The ability of the police department to help us with eyes on the ground, I can't overstate how valuable that is to us. By assigning a specific officer to go look at different streets instead of getting 8 different officers' opinion of what an area may look like, you get one person's consistent opinion, along with photographs that can be sent to Public Works. Then in real time, we're getting as useful as the most useful information that we can possibly get. With the fire department's help and the police department's help, we expect to keep our people safe.
One other question that just hit me. Georgetown Community Hospital, do they handle their own street plowing, or does the city contribute to that effort?
They handle their own with a private contractor. Although if this event is like other events, the police department and fire department will help deliver some doctors and nurses to the hospital, and perhaps some patients as well.
Do they call just that, the dispatch number if they need that?
Yes, ma'am. And that was the non-emergency medical needs at 502-863-7820.
So like doctors, nurses, anyone that works at a hospital needs help to get there? Okay.
And we can send people to help them. We've got 5 Hummers, and the fire department has a number of 4-wheel drive vehicles. We've worked out a methodology where We'll let one department work in one quadrant and another department work in the next quadrant, and it'll give us, we think, the most efficient response to those needs.
What about the school system? Have you had any contact at all with them and how they'll respond in this?
We have not yet, Dan. We know that they're faced with the decision about whether or not to hold school or not hold school. The judge and I are going to try and have the roads as clear as we possibly can, so as school as possible, they can go.
We're good.
Thank y'all very much. We appreciate you coming over.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate you waiting.